Today we want to talk about the Bosnian Tornjak. This is a livestock protection breed, comparable in looks to the Pyrenean mountain dog. It's from the Bosnia-Herzegovina region, and it's already a very old race. They even found them in the 11th century already. That being said, there were so little left that they had to reconstruct it. But still the looks and also the functionality of the Tornjak has remained untouched. So there's a breed that you keep with your sheep or cattle, and it protects it against wolves or thieves, something like that. You also have the Sarplaniac, which is a breed that is found close by, and of course the Pyrenean mountain dog and other land-raised protection breeds could all have been used to reconstruct this Tornjak breed. The Tornjak breed is a little bit milder than many livestock protection breeds, for example Ovcharka or the Kangal, because it knows, and this is not always the case, but for a dog it knows quite well when it is on its terrain, when it is protecting its stock, and when it is not. So for example, if the Tornjak meets strangers outside its terrain or outside the protection circle of its stock, it can be quite friendly. And that friendly characteristics make them quite easy to live with, while they are, if needed, able to kill wolves or even man-made thieves. They are quite thoughtful about that process and know when to and when not to display that characteristic. Of course, this is not carved in stone. It's still an animal, it's different than human beings, and it will also make some mistakes, of course. But for such a big livestock protection breed, they are quite easy and dose aggressive, if that makes sense to you. The color of this breed is often especially white, with very often dark markings around the head region. You also see this with the Pyrenean mountain dog, but then they have like a small head marking, whereas the Tornjak often has quite big black plates that are covering large parts of its head. The guy busted out his chain for the bicycle. Tornjaks are dogs with a good protection. They are big, strong, and will function very well outside, also if they have to fend for themselves. So alternatives. As I mentioned before, you could look at the Tornjak as a reconstruction of an old breed. They still have some of that original blood that was found there in there, but good alternatives could be, for example, the Pyrenean mountain dog that I mentioned, which is also quite soft and docile as compared to many of big livestock protection breeds. If you don't want that different temperament and you want a dog that's very hard, you could look at ways like Ovcharka, the Kangal comes to mind, Alabai. That kind of dogs could function very well. Also you have with the Alabai, for example, a shorter coat, which could also help if you are living in a region that is very hot. Also the Kangal has a short coat compared to the Tornjak. There are many breeds that have similar characteristics. One could go as far as a Tibetan Mastiff, that was also a livestock protection breed. And this just gives you some insight of what you could expect. Another good alternative could be the Spanish Mastiff. It's also a mountainous protection breed of livestock especially. And those type of dogs bring the mass, strength, and also the character needed. The difference between the white livestock protection breeds are often that they are part of the herd, whereas the other colored livestock protection breeds are often more circling the herd, if that makes sense. So this is something that you see. It's not also not written in stone. Sometimes the dogs are expanding the parameter to see if there's something wrong, and also exploiting new terrain when the herd is moving, but that's often the case. Also, the Tornjak is part of the Serbian defense dog. I made a video about that breed as well. But then they added some wolf blood. Well, that's quite a nice contrast, a dog that kills wolves and protects against wolves, and then wolf blood. And they added a lot of Molosser and Bull and Terrier blood. So the Tornjak is there, but more out of sentimental reasons for the region instead of really contributing to the Serbian defense dog. I hope you like this video. Have a nice day. Bye.